welcome to the 2020 Fed Cup by BNP Paribas Qualifiers draw live from the International Tennis Federation's headquarters here in London. I'm Annabelle Croft, and with me is the ITF President, David Haggerty. Welcome, David. Well, today we will confirm the qualifier ties that will be played on February the 7th and Saturday the 8th of February next year, with 16 nations set to compete for a place in the all-new 2020 Fed Cup finals. The 8 winners of the qualifiers will join the 4 teams that have already made it through to the finals next year. That's the 2 finalists from this year, Australia and France, alongside the host nation, Hungary, and as announced last week, 1 wildcard nation, which for 2020 is the Czech Republic. Well, let's have a look at what lies in store for the Fed Cup by BNP Paribas in 2020. Well, hopefully that's given us all a taste of what to expect from the Fed Cup next year. Now, before we conduct the draw, let's just have a few words with the ITF President, David Haggerty. David, today's draw is one of the first stages of the transformation of the Fed Cup. Can you tell us a little bit about the new finals and how excited you are about the 2020 competition?
Well, certainly very excited about the finals in Budapest in 2020. We'll start the year with 20 teams that have the possibility of being the Fed Cup champion, which is exciting compared to this year where we have only 8 teams that have that possibility. We really wanted to elevate the Fed Cup competition, and by having the finals in Budapest with equal prize money will be a significant change for Fed Cup.
It certainly will. Well, today's attention is obviously on the qualifiers in February, and we're all looking forward to 8 in the world. How do you think that the Fed Cup fans will embrace and enjoy those qualifying ties?
Well, I think, as you know, Annabelle, home and away is an important element of the Fed Cup competition. So the qualifiers will have 8 nations hosting 8 visiting nations, where the best teams will then qualify through to the finals. So that home and away atmosphere will be very exciting. And then you have the pathway, you go to the finals in Budapest, which will be very, very important for those nations and the fans that are following them.
Yes, so much to look forward to. Well, I know that the ITF are very committed to elevating the profile of the Fed Cup and, of course, women's tennis in general. How important is this new Fed Cup format, do you think, in helping to achieve those goals?
Well, gender equality is one of the most important things as a foundation for the International Tennis Federation. And Advantage All is one of our programs that we have, where Billie Jean King is our ambassador, and she's also our ambassador for Fed Cup. So we think that with the equal prize money and with really showcasing women's tennis in a way that it hasn't been shown before will be very exciting.
It certainly is. Great stuff. Well, thank you very much for that, David. Now, moving on to the draw to decide the 8 qualifying ties to take place on Friday the 7th and Saturday the 8th of February 2020. I would now like to welcome onto stage the ITF referee, Claire Wood. Welcome, Claire. There are 8 seeded nations who will be placed in order of the most recent Fed Cup nations ranking from top to bottom. The number 1 seeded nation is USA. Followed by the number 2 seed, Belarus. Then Romania. Germany, Spain, Switzerland, Belgium, and finally the 8th seed, Great Britain. The 8 unseeded nations are in alphabetical order: Brazil, Canada, Japan, Kazakhstan, Latvia, Netherlands, Russia, and Slovakia. Claire, it's over to you to conduct the draw.
Thank you very much. And as Annabelle has already mentioned, we have the 8 unseeded nations in these balls, which I'm going to place in the trophy for David to pull out one at a time to determine who plays against the seeded nations. 2, 4, 6, 8. Our 8 unseeded nations. So for the first ones out to play the number 1 seeds, the USA, David, please. Thank you. And the first nation out is Latvia.
Choice of ground by lot.
Choice of ground by lot. We have here 2 balls, unseeded and seeded, to determine who will have the home tie. And it is the seeded nation. The USA will host Latvia.
So this will be a first Fed Cup meeting for USA and Latvia.
To play Belarus, we have, thank you, we have the Netherlands.
Choice of ground, Netherlands.
Choice of ground, the Netherlands.
And this is a 5th meeting for the 2 teams. Netherlands leads the head-to-head 3-1, but Belarus won their most recent tie, a first-round victory in Minsk in 2017, and the Belarusians went on to finish runner-up that year.
Now to play Romania. Thank you. We have Russia. Russia to play Romania.
Choice of ground by lot.
Choice of ground by lot. We choose the seeded and the unseeded. Thank you. And it is the seeded nation. Romania will host Russia.
And that is a 3rd meeting for the Romanians and the Russians, but the first since 1986. Russia has won both of their previous meetings.
Next one. To play Germany, we have Brazil.
Choice of ground by lot.
Choice of ground by lot. Again, our seeded and unseeded. Give them a mix around. There you go, thank you. Thank you, yeah. We have the unseeded nation. Brazil will host Germany.
And a 4th meeting for Germany and Brazil. Germany has won all 3 of the team's previous meetings, but this will be their first Fed Cup clash since 1986.
And to play Spain. Thank you. To play Spain, we have Japan.
Choice of ground, Spain.
Choice of ground to Spain.
And this will be a 4th meeting for Spain and Japan, with Spain looking to maintain their unbeaten record against Japan. The team's most recent meeting came in February this year, when Georgina Garcia Perez won all 3 of her matches to seal a dramatic victory for Spain.
Thank you. And now to play Switzerland. To play Switzerland, we have Canada.
Choice of ground, Switzerland.
And the choice of ground goes to Switzerland. Switzerland will be at home to Canada.
And this will be a 6th Fed Cup meeting for Switzerland and Canada, and their first since 2004. Canada leads the head-to-head 3-2, but the Swiss were victorious in that 2004 meeting, recording a 3-2 victory in Dorval in Canada.
And for Belgium, we have, thank you, we have Kazakhstan to play Belgium.
Choice of ground, lot.
Choice of ground by lot. Thank you. Our seeded and unseeded balls, please. Thank you. The seeded nation Belgium will host Kazakhstan.
And this will be a first Fed Cup meeting for Belgium and Kazakhstan.
Finally, our last nation out to play Great Britain is Slovakia.
Choice of ground by lot.
Choice of ground by lot. Mix around. There we go. Thank you, David. It's the unseeded nation, Slovakia, to host Great Britain.
Well, that's just a second meeting between Slovakia and Great Britain. Slovakia won their only previous encounter at the Europe-Africa Group 1 event in Bulgaria back in 2006.
Thank you. And this concludes the draw.
Thank you very much to Claire and David. Some very exciting matchups there. We're really looking forward to that. Well, of course, before we get to next year, there's the 2019 Fed Cup final, which will see Australia host France, with the Aussies aiming for a first Fed Cup title since 1974, and the French team looking to be crowned world champions for the first time since 2003. The final takes place in Perth on the 9th and 10th of November, and you will, of course, be able to follow all the action live on fedcup.com. Finally, thank you for tuning in to today, and we hope that you're looking forward to an exciting year of Fed Cup action in 2020. Bye for now.